Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. Today is September 3rd, 2020. Reaching out to you today from PS42. The intentions are simply just to connect with you and do a little bit of a check-in. I think the more information everyone has, the better we all are. And so please, if the opportunity is there, please join me on the Zoom recording. The actual PowerPoint itself will be on the website as well. And so hopefully this information that I have to share with you is helpful, and please also understand a lot more information will be forthcoming. So thanks for joining me today. Today's intentions, I would like to go over a series of intentions with you today. To begin with, as you know, the Department of Ed modified and changed the school opening start dates. I'd like to get into that a little bit more. I also would like to share with you some more insight and more information regarding blended learning and also remote instruction. And also, when doing so, really share with you and give you more insight to your child's teacher when they're in blended and when they're in remote learning, what that will look like. There'll be language used, synchronous and asynchronous learning. So I'd like to define what that is and provide some clarity, and also discuss and share with you the current insight with COVID testing on the school level and also temperature checks. We have some information I would like to share with you and address some of the thinking in that area as well. Of course, I'd like to talk a little bit more about arrival and dismissal. I did this on the last call, but I want to deepen that. And then, of course, again, visit what we share with you, the information we have regarding the frequently asked questions and the inquiries that are in our virtual general office, which is growing, and we appreciate that. And so an update with that. And of course, a little bit more information and reminders for preparing our kids to be successful when we're back in school. So that's our work for today. And so please join me. And if you have questions along the way, I really want, it's very difficult to make it interactive with the volume of people and everyone's schedules. However, along the way, jot down a question and put it in the virtual general office, okay? And we will be addressing those questions accordingly. So, as you know, on September 1st, earlier this week, we learned, actually when I was on a phone call and a meeting with our superintendents, the mayor and City Hall, along with the Chancellor's office, shared with us that the school opening, the traditional school opening schedule for the 10th has been modified. And so just to give everyone an update, we messaged it out in an email and also in social media, but I want to give some insight as to what will be taking place during this time. So on the 8th of September, our teachers and staff will be reporting. We'll be utilizing this time for professional development and professional learning. And we'll also be providing our teachers with their teacher programs and their assignments. This is not a traditional school year. This is a school year much different than anything we've ever experienced. And so we will be spending time with our teachers and supporting them to make sure that they're successful for both blended and remote learning. And when doing so, we'll be retooling and making sure there's a level of readiness for all. Students and teachers, instructional orientation is scheduled for September 16th, 17th, and 18th. That will be done remote, so students and families will be responsible to be logging in. Again, insight and more information will be sent to your home. The details are important, and that will be forthcoming from the school level, and that's something we can control, and that's something I'll be putting out. But for today's intentions, I want to give you overarching understanding of what will be taking place. And on the 16th and 17th and 18th, on the 3 days, that will be all remote. And this will be an opportunity for students and teachers, and including families, to make sure that they can connect with their teachers. We service pre-K to 5, and our lower grades, of course, families will have to support kids and start building stamina and getting an understanding. But again, we're going to say it, we say it often, and I know our parents understand this, that our kids are remarkable with technology. And I think that it's going to be easy for them or easier for them than what we're thinking. but we're making sure that they're able to connect and making sure that everything is ready for making sure they're ready for the live instruction as well as the full remote. When doing so, some of our students, because of the work we did March, April, May of last year, we're going to be capitalizing on that muscle memory, meaning they know exactly how to navigate the remote system and the live instruction and how to put up posted work and whatnot and respond to work. And of course, I think it's important that we got to build and deepen the online etiquette, meaning how to actually act accordingly when on a call. And if you have a question, what's the practice and what's the best protocol to do that? So that will be taking place on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. And when we are checking in and making sure everything is set, we'll also be talking with our kids and talking with the family to make sure everyone is in a good state of mind and social, emotionally in a good place. Behind me, I have our ruler measurements or quadrants of different types of emotions. And so when we do a check-in, we'll be checking in to make sure that everyone is in a good place. So moving forward, the very first day, the 21st, will be the actual first day that we go blended learning and full remote learning. That's when that will begin. That's Monday the 21st. And depending on the cohort in which your child, if you're a blended learning cohort, depending on your cohort, we will be advising to you when week one will begin. There seems to be a lot of confusion and questions with this. What cohort will be coming in on the 21st? It's my understanding some schools are messaging right now as we speak, and maybe they're aware of something I'm not, but I really depend on the Department of Education and their resources. I'm afraid to give you what I think it is, but I'm waiting for formal feedback, because we know that we feed into middle schools and we feed into high schools. And so if we're not in sync with them, that could become a problem for you. And so once we get that, we'll be sending it out in an email to you, so you have enough time to plan accordingly, as well as putting it on our website, and we will be color coding the dates in the calendar. When students come in, I thought it would be a good time just to share with you. I have a series of tags. I'll just use one as an example, this one here. They're all different colors, but this one here, it has a group A written on it. And so each student that comes in, the first day that they come in, they will receive this and they'll go home with this on their backpack. That's another way for us to identify the appropriate group coming in for the day. And so please expect that. But the calendar will be coming out very shortly. And when it does, we'll be sending it out to you. It'll be on our website. So let's slow it down a little bit. And again, this will be on the school website, this slide, with the Zoom recording, this recording, as well as without it. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. But let's look at what exactly blended and remote learning will look like, and your child's teacher or teachers when in blended and when in remote. And so blended learning will be involving cohorts A, B, and C, and it will be a combination of both on-site, coming here to school, physically in school, and then also working off-site when at home or maybe in your parents' place of business or at a rec center or another location. So on-site and off-site. It's a combination of both. And when doing so, we'll be utilizing synchronous and asynchronous learning. Synchronous meaning that it'll be live real time. And asynchronous will be when we're posting work without live instruction. And in a sense, to give you an understanding or schema and or a point of reference, it's basically a lot of the instruction that took place in March, April, when we first started working in the pandemic of COVID. We were posting a lot of work. And so that is what is meant by asynchronous. There will be a combination, of course, for the blended learning students in A, B, and C. The on-site teacher and blended remote teacher will be working together to coordinate learning. That's a pretty powerful bullet right there, and I highlighted it for a purpose, because what I really want you to get an understanding, and I recently, through the guidance that was delivered to us on the school level, that clarity was actually provided in this area. And so When students come to school, they will be working closely with a teacher, live instruction, and their on-site teacher will be supporting the learning throughout the day. But if you're a student in cohort A and you're coming in, let's say it's a Wednesday, and you're coming in on your day, the students in B and C will be home, off-site. And so the blended remote teacher, there'll be another teacher supporting the learning. And it's very important that the two of those teachers work seamlessly and plan accordingly to support the learning. So a student coming in will be working with a certain teacher, and then another teacher will be supporting the learning when they're home. All right, that's a really important piece, and that is a challenge on the school level, and that's what we've been doing the last few days, revisiting our teacher program and looking at human resources and establishing plans and protocols to be successful in this area. Please understand that a lot of us, and I've been in this community, I grew up here, but I also know this community as an educator, came here in 2002, and I love tradition, and I think it pays us dividends, and it's very important. But we have to think differently this year and understand that when we look at ATS codes, we cannot look to link it to a person. Moving forward this year in this remote and blended type of mindset and fashion due to COVID, I don't want our families to be thinking about ATS codes matching to a certain teacher. That's not going to be a very successful protocol on a family's point of view. And so on the school level, we're looking at our ATS codes. We want to keep our kids together as a class, but that doesn't necessarily match to the teacher. If your child is a full remote student, they will be in cohort D. They will be working from home throughout the 5 days, throughout every week. And so they will be utilizing as well synchronous, live instruction, real time, as well as asynchronous work that will be posted, and students will be responsible to act accordingly. The remote teacher that they'll be assigned to, the administration and I and our teacher teams are committed to ensure that the remote teacher that will be servicing our remote students will also be coordinating and staying in pace and staying aligned with what the blended and the on-site teachers are doing for cohorts A, B, and C. So cohesion is important. And again, I want to remind you that non-traditional teacher assignments of ATS do not reference the ATS code to who you think might be the teacher. So if Mrs. Smith is always in room ABC or 123 and ATS is ABC, whatever, not really good making this up as we go along, but please do not depend on what you think is accurate. I'm just being honest with you. We're at this moment still looking at human resources, which brings me to the last point on this page. So we're working very closely with the Department of Education along with other schools within the district and city, and the human resources and the human capital needed to support the instruction for A, B, and C and D learning is something that we're working to resolve. That is probably one of the other elements as to why the mayor's office and the chancellor's office, along with the Department of Ed and our schools, that's the reason why we extended probably the opening or the days to open a little bit further. There has to be a lot more planning and preparation regarding human resources and human capital. I would like to once again, I follow social media, not all of it, but some of it, and I'm a parent first, and I'm also a principal, and I work with teachers and I work with families, and I enjoy working with children, and privacy and respect for all is always the top. But when the community started learning about COVID testing, people get very anxious and get nervous, and you know what, everyone's opinion matters. So I want to just, again, today's intention is kind of shed light on some of these talking points and give you some substance to think about and the latest information that the school has. So right now, with respect to COVID testing on the school level, beginning October 1st, and this information, if it changes, we'll inform you, but this is what Brian Sharkey has on the school level at this moment. On October 1st and reoccurring each month, There'll be mandatory tests in our schools. There'll be approximately 10 to 20% of our students and staff will be tested. We will be getting a lot more information and guidance. I believe it was mentioned at the press conference, and I believe the information is still forthcoming. But as it comes in, we'll be tightening up that information and giving it to you accordingly. But until then, I just want you to understand that whatever process and protocol is in place, you have my word that we will never put a family in a very uncomfortable situation or a student, and our team, our school family, our teachers, our paras, our school aides, you name it, parent coordinator, administration, secretaries, custodial staff, we're all on board to make sure our kids are always in a good place, both physically and mentally. And so I don't want people anxious around this. So allow us to message to you the finer details when it comes out, and then we can plan accordingly. The other information regarding health screenings regarding COVID-19 is the daily health screenings that include temperature checks. We're asking our families to do the same thing before kids come to school. Take a look at what's going on with your children before you come to school, and it will also be conducted by school-based staff. Every morning prior to entering the school, we will have a team of people, a COVID team or temperature team, and they'll be performing random samplings of temperatures, both for staff and for students. The device we just recently received, approximately 38 actual infrared thermometers that will be used. It's touchless. It can be held inches away from someone's forehead, a student's forehead or an adult's forehead, and temperature will be taken. Of course, COVID is always of concern, so we're not going to come in contact. This practice will be modeled for you before school starts. I'll be putting out a short video on what it really looks like and making sure kids feel comfortable, as well as our parents. And this will be done as we are entering school. The DOE will also be sharing additional guidance regarding temperature screenings and whatnot. So as we get it, we'll be sharing it accordingly. Student arrival. So I always giggle and laugh when I think about this. When I think of student arrival, I always think of the first day in the schoolyard being a lot of pomp and circumstance and meeting and greeting families and giving high fives and checking in and checking on our families and hearing great stories about summer and whatnot. But student arrival, both the beginning and throughout the duration of this protocol, working in blended learning, arrivals need to be consistent, and we're going to start our practices right out of the gate. And so student arrival will begin at 8:30 a.m. Students will be arriving to school. They will be coming in using multiple points of entry. We always have our traditional doors in the annex building and our traditional doors in the main building. And we have traditional doors for our students who come in by bus. What we're looking to do is utilize the doors, as many doors as possible, while maintaining safety and giving the appropriate messaging to what door is for what grade, and then having the support staff there for temperature reading. When pre-K students arrive, they will be utilizing their classroom doors, and at the doors, that's when families will be meeting and greeting their teachers, and from there, students will be entering. But at large, pre-K to 5, pre-K, K and 5, all the way through, I want the whole school community to have and understand that parents, unfortunately, will not be permitted to enter the building and into our classrooms for our traditional practices like we've done in the past. There's no possible way that our rooms and our environments can handle the actual, due to social distancing, the volume of people. And then also making sure the environment is cleaned and safe and orderly for learning throughout the day. So that is a very big shift for us. It makes me a little uncomfortable thinking about that. It goes against the grain of everything we've been trying to do for the last, since I've been here, and building off of that. Historically, the school has that reputation in this community. Our doors are open. So I want you to understand that the doors will always be open, but it could be a virtual door. It could be a little bit different than what we've done. So starting first day of school, the expectation is our parents to meet and greet, get the temperature reading, students will come in. It is so important that we do this right. And so the intentions are, please work with us. We're going to share with you as all the information you need, but the expectation is please work with us. And so talk with your kids, get your head around it. If a student comes in late, tardiness and lateness is another thing I always chuckle. I'm big on being on time. Synchronize, don't jeopardize. That's what my dad used to tell me. If work starts at 8, be there at 7. It's great. We open our doors every day traditionally, and kids are always on time. What I'm asking you to do, our doors will be opening at 8:30, and it's okay as we stagger in. We're not having staggered start times, but it's okay if kids are coming in a little bit later than others, but the window starts at 8:30. And with the volume of people we have coming in for our cohorts and the number of doors we're looking to utilize, I do not anticipate this being a difficult task. However, please, your deputized parents and students to please use social distancing at all times. I want you to be wearing a mask. Safe and healthy is always the forefront, and keeping track of who's around you, and do not allow crowding to take place. Classroom teachers will be expanding on the morning arrivals and protocols during their orientations. That'll be a great time to ask some questions too, and they'll give you the specifics about the door and the location. And when we start messaging the finer details of what class and whatnot we'll be using, that will be forthcoming, because what I really want to do as a principal is, I think, to run a successful school, you don't make decisions in isolation. So the administrators and I feel strongly about deputizing our teachers to ask them about what works for them based on their location, based on what they know of the number of kids and the layout of our school campus. I'm also asking them to be part of decision making. When students come in, grab and go breakfasts will be available, and same thing it includes lunch. And again, I put down, please trust us. To me, that's the most powerful piece. The first day of school is always emotional. You tell your kids how you feel, you love them, tell them that, and they love you too. And I bet you that if you were to ask me who really has the most difficult time with that, it's the parents, and you know that. When the kids come in, they're excited. They're meeting and greeting new friends. They're catching up with friends that they know from prior classes. It's a nice time. Teachers do a phenomenal job. They will be doing really fun, interesting learning and tasks, and really making it exciting. And I won't say they'll be distracted, but they'll be engaged. And so they will be so fastly moving forward in their thinking and their mindset, while you'll be going home and having a cup of coffee with a friend and thinking about it. But trust me when I tell you, they're going to be fine, and you'll be fine too. Okay? So trust us on that. Dismissal is just as important. We're actually dismissing all around the same time. Therefore, we'll be using multiple doors. Some of our classrooms have doors out to the outside, exterior doors, as well as we have multiple exit doors throughout both buildings and in the campus. So we're going to be using as much space as possible, as long as it's conducive and being able to spread out. Locations and all the details will be provided, but I want to just remind you that we will probably modify some of our arrival dismissal protocols as we get started, based on feedback from teachers, families, and staff, right? Looking at what's working, what's not. We're not going to say this is it and it stays this way. We're going to modify it as accordingly, and it will be well messaged to support all our families. Parent expectations, I know you know this, but it's important just to remind you that you've been deputized to be socially distant at all times. You're wearing a mask. I'm asking you to model these practices. You call me on it if you see me outside without a mask, and we'll be calling each other on it, because it's so important that we model for our kids. Crowding, social distancing, let's not go into a crowd, let's stay away, let's not let crowds appear. And if we were to take the posture of we're going to police and monitor every aspect, trust us, we will not be successful. So everyone is responsible for this. Pickup is extremely important, so it's important to be on time. Please utilize family and friends. It's really important that you have a network and keep your contact information updated. You might be happy to hear but the traditional practices of filling out blue emergency cards that we send home every year, we ask you, each family historically, to do multiple cards. Your fingers want to fall off and you're really not feeling so great about your school when you're doing this. We're going green. There will be an email sent out with an electronic link where we're asking you to fill out your contact information. And so all the information necessary for pickup and releasing a student will be on that. And please keep that updated. There will be a specific narrative and text that will support that information, but please keep that updated. And when coming up to pick up students, please leave ample time. New York Minute, we want to drop kids off and off to work, and we want to get out of work real quick and pick up our kids. Please plan accordingly. It's so important that we leave ample time, okay? There's been tremendous amount of frequently asked questions and inquiries in our virtual general office, and I'm grateful for it. We can never have too many. A lot of the questions that come in, unfortunately, we hate saying it, it's uncomfortable, but we're waiting for guidance ourselves, and a lot of things still are in that category. We are waiting for a lot of things, but allow me to expand on our current thinking so you have an understanding of what we know and what we're working towards. So on the 26th, we had a deadline of August 26th, our chancellor asked us to please inform our families as soon as possible, no later than the 26th, and PS42 was very successful. We informed our families well before that. Our families that are blended and the date that they will be attending school. And so within the next few days of those mailings coming in, we had a tremendous amount of requests. And when I tell you a tremendous amount, a lot. Families requesting, A is not good for me, B is better. Could you put me in C rather than B? And so what we're going to be doing once we establish our teacher program and establish the HR needs for remote as well as blended and making sure everything is in place, we're going to be looking at, is it possible if there's 9 families in 3rd grade as an example, I'm just going to give you, because we service 1,070 families. And so please understand that this is a very heavy lift, but we're going to look at and see what are the abilities here. If we have 9 families in 3rd grade who want to go from B to C, and 9 that want to go from C to B, we're going to look to do that, all right? It's symmetrical, it should be easy to do. However, moving people around can often affect other families, and in fairness, that's something that's really hard to do. We also have families that are looking to shift from cohort D, which is full remote, coming into blending, and we have to leave space for that. So honestly, folks, we're going to do our best to do that, but please understand that this is a request that I can't guarantee you will be able to meet, but we will try. Bus ridership. That is an extremely sensitive topic. Right now, our understanding, the Department of Education and the bus companies are establishing contracts as well as protocols to provide busing, but at this time, there is no information other than what I just shared. And when it comes in, we'll give it to you. So therefore, please plan accordingly. I know transportation is critical we have well over 200 students who ride the bus to and from school. And so this is an important piece that I want you to be mindful of, that when we get the information, we'll give it to you. Morning care and aftercare, we surveyed our families within minutes. We've learned that, yes, there is a demand for morning and aftercare for the students that are in blended learning for those specific days, the days that they are in school. We feel confident that through self-sustaining, we can come up with a scale and a way to service and provide this, but we are waiting for the permission and the guidance from the Department of Education and making sure that the space that we use is conducive and safe and cleaned. So that's an important element that we're working and waiting for. A lot of materials that were left in the school year when we walked out in March thinking, hey, this might be a few weeks, and then it turned into months, and then it turned into the entire school year. But the materials that are on our student desks, the materials that are considered communal, crayons and things that were shared, and even tissues and things like that, and materials that were in bins and placed in desks and a lot of people had access to, students had access to. That was material that was discarded through our custodial services. I spoke and I met with them about that. That's something that's important to understand, that we did not want to put anyone at risk. These certain materials were of concern, but books and materials that were in our student desks have been bagged. And if you're interested in retrieving them, we are setting up a protocol. Please accept an email very shortly, early next week. And we're going to be providing an opportunity when staff comes in. We'll be taking the bags out of the classrooms and handing them off outside to any family who would like to pick up their student materials. In the same breath, I would like to say, most of the materials that are in the desks are the consumable books, and also any type of artwork that students have generated. To me, that's very important, just like a writing journal, personal materials like that. When our art teachers come in, we're going to ask them to also go through the art portfolios in their classrooms and in their environments, and making sure students get finished and unfinished artwork. I think that's something that is very respectful, and we're working towards that as well. So look for that email. Electronic devices, folks. The Department of Education, when we were in March, April, May, we depleted all of our resources, or at least most of our resources. It went home to families who needed devices. At the same time, many families depended on the city to request devices, and to my knowledge, PS42 families will receive them. Right now, the Department of Ed is leaning back on the school level, and it makes sense to do so. But right now, on PS42's level, we do not have enough devices to be giving out in the fashion that we did in March. We don't have an inventory. However, we're retaining the funds and the necessary information to procure devices on your behalf. And that's something we're working on, and we're looking forward to be able to really message the proper protocols and everything you need to do. But until then, please use the virtual general office, say I need a device, and we're putting you on that list. The City of New York, maybe as I'm speaking, is putting this out. I understand it might come out today, but we are waiting for a school calendar. So you depend on that calendar as we do. And we're also waiting for the calendar to come out to us that really displays what assigned cohorts are going on what days. We do know that A, B, and C is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for blended, but when week one actually starts, we want that to come from the city, and that will be sent to you and also on our school website when it comes in. There's a lot of inquiries and wonderings around face shields and masks and face shields. It's very simple. The facts are masks are required. It's very important that all students and staff, everyone wears a mask. And if you wanted to wear a face shield in concert with a mask, you are welcome to do so. But face shields are not allowed without a mask. So if you want to have a face shield for a student or even staff members, that is appropriate. I'm fine with it. But the masks is the non-negotiable. If there's an issue, of course, let's start those conversations with our teachers and administration, and we'll address them accordingly. But we can't have one and not the other. Okay, you have to have a mask, non-negotiable. Supply lists, we messaged early in the late spring, I should say, and as we were breaking for summer, for many families, they were interested, and traditionally we messaged that. If you're wondering, should you go out and buy everything now, or what should you do? I'm going to just say, do what you're super comfortable with. From a dad with 2 kids in college and one going next year, the expense of running a household, I totally get it. So if you want to just slow down with purchasing and wait for that orientation and talk to your teachers, the traditional practices of materials coming into school, it's going to look different. And so why don't you have those conversations and you do what you're comfortable with. What I don't want you to do is put yourself in a fiscal position where you're upset that these materials weren't used. They will be used at some point, but if you want to hold off, that's fine too. A lot of parents have been asking about clusters and whatnot, and will my child be traveling to and from? We're looking to remove the transitions throughout the building as much as possible. Students, if they need a bathroom, I get it. And if they're traveling to PE, we're going to be using outside space for physical education. PE requires students to be approximately 12 feet apart. And so when students are engaged in a cluster class where they're exercising, let's say it's chorus, because we have a chorus teacher or a band, whenever they're using and they're breathing at a rate that's different than in a classroom, the requirement is 12 feet apart rather than 6. We're looking to reduce the volume of times kids are traveling. So for the most part, services will be provided in the classroom. And then in order to accommodate the program itself, our students will have access to different cluster teachers throughout a period of time. We'll be rotating that program accordingly. Visitors to the building. This is an extremely, extremely important piece that I want to remind everyone that it is critical that we don't have the mindset of just being able to walk in and just have that conversation like we did in the past. Both buildings were always open. We have great security protocols in place, so it was never of concern. No one had access to get upstairs and travel throughout the building, but we always had access to listening to a parent with a concern, meeting and greeting, and the door, in a sense, was an open door policy. I want to continue that mindset, but physically, we're not able to do it. So please work with us, and please follow our protocols that we'll be sending home. But out of the gate, I just want you to understand that we can't come in and sign kids out very quickly. We don't want parents to be even signed out because they're only in school a few days when they're coming in. So please schedule dental and medical and appointments that are important to your family on days that they're not physically in school. And also use the virtual general office and the phone for any inquiries. We cannot handle volumes of parents coming in and walking into the lobby, signing in into the general office. The general office has a social distancing protocol. The lobby has a social distancing. And so please understand that if everyone does this right, because if we don't, a mishap can affect so many families. Because if we have to close due to COVID and there's an outbreak, the question is, where did we think it started? And the tracing, if it comes down to visitor protocols, that's going to be upsetting for all. So please work with us in that capacity. We love you, but we're going to connect in a remote way. Orientation for our students, of course, will be in a remote fashion, conducted by our teachers. And it's so important that relationships are built and you become familiar with who's servicing and working with your families. That is also for related services, all types of student needs due to an IEP, and all types of services that are needed for success. So we have a huge staff, we have a great family, and you're part of it too. And so I'm confident this will work out. New questions pop up, put it in the virtual general office. I gave this to you in the past. Again, I'm not going to go over it as specifically as I did last time, but it's there for your reference. Wearing masks is critical. Try not to cause fear. Get kids to understand. Get them to understand social distancing and the importance of appropriate hand washing and hand sanitizing, using that birthday song, how to say hello to a friend who haven't seen in a while. Read this over. It's a really important piece. And something new I added last night is getting that device ready. Devices might be ready for gaming. Devices might be ready for watching a movie or playing a game. But devices being ready for teaching and learning and making sure everything is ready and your software is ready and everything's working in order. Please take a look at that and making sure that we're good to go. All the necessary information that you'll need for signing up to your learning platform and everything you'll need will be sent home. But for today's intentions, just wanted to give some reminders out. The virtual general office, here we go. I must have said it 1,000 times, but it's right on our website. And so I'm confident once this is released, new questions and inquiries will be coming in. Our staff will be arriving on the 8th, and I'll be putting key people on this to monitor this and get back to you even faster turnaround time. Folks, a lot of times the information and the responses that we're giving, unfortunately, include language like more guidance is forthcoming, more information will be forthcoming, and I wholeheartedly apologize, and I'm a little uncomfortable saying it. I get uncomfortable hearing it, and so I understand the level of frustration you all have when you hear that, but please, we're in this together. If you continue to look at us as your advocate and we're alongside you, That's the vision I would like to continue. And so as we have the opportunity to learn, we'll be giving it to you accordingly. Well, that's about it for today. I think I went rather long, but I think everything is important to hear. I just want to close with letters, information, everything will be coming out. We'll be utilizing email. We're going green. We're not going to be falling into the practices of old school, let's backpack a letter, let's get it, print it, and give it. We'll be using electronics as our point of communication and email. We're also going to start looking at, because every student at PS42 and every student in New York City public schools has an email account, we're looking to also include sending school information home. That's appropriate, of course, to our students as well. We have students that are learning to read, and we have students that are reading to learn. But we all understand the importance of communication. And we know when kids see a letter came in, Mommy, Daddy, did you see this? That's another way that we can ensure communication is tight. So we're going green. We'll be sending everything out electronically, and the finer details to arrivals, dismissal, and everything you need to know about a successful school year will be forthcoming. We're going to get back to work. We're doing our teacher program. The administrators and I just wanted to connect with you today and share with you what we're thinking and what's going on. Have a great day, everyone, and can't wait to see you guys soon. Thank you.